We're looking at section 6 of chapter 7, which is solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. So you're going to write this down in your notebook. If you need to, you can pause the video while you write down your notes and then hit play when you're ready to move on. You can rewind to listen to something again, and if you have questions along the way, go ahead and write those down in the side of your notebook. I'm not expecting that you can solve every single problem in this lecture, but I'm expecting that you have a basic understanding of what I'm talking about so that tomorrow during class when we go over problems, you're able to work with us. So go ahead and write this down, solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. A reminder, an inequality is something that has a less than sign, less than or equal to sign, a greater than sign, or greater than or equal to sign. So those are our inequalities that we're going to be looking at. I need you to copy these down. These are properties of inequalities. These are very similar to when we looked at just solving equations. So the addition property is when you add the same number to each side of an equation, that equality remains true. Subtraction, when you subtract the same number to each side of an equation, the inequality remains true as well. So remember, if you need to pause the video when you're ready to move on. I have some examples to help show you these properties. So my first example, I want to solve an inequality using addition. So I want to try to get the x all by itself. Here's my inequality. So I kind of make a line by my inequality, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I want to get rid of this 4. So I see this 4 here. I have a negative 4 hanging here. So I want to get rid of it. So I know that negative 4 plus 4 is 0. So that's how I can get rid of the 4. So my x is all by itself on one side. So again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So on this side, I'm going to add 4 as well. My 4 minus 4 becomes 0, so I just have an x on the right side. 1 plus 4 is 5. And I'm going to put my less than or equal to sign in there. So 5 is less than or equal to x. So now I need to graph that. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to make a number line. And here's my 5, and I want to include that because I have the equals to, so I'm going to put a darkened circle on 5. Now I know x has to be a number that's greater than that, so I'm going to draw an arrow to the right. So I know my 5 is a number less than or equal to x, so x must be greater than that. So we learned how to graph that in the last section, so we're going to utilize that in this section. Okay, so now you're going to use the same exact process and you're going to solve one on your own. So you should see a text box on the right. So after you have solved this in your notebook, you have this all written in your notebook, you're going to give me your answer in the text box on the right. If you're a little confused and need some more help, some different examples, if you look in your textbook on page 334, you should see some different examples from what I just gave you to help you to understand what to do. So I'm going to give you a couple of these to try on your own. So here's example 2 to solve and graph on your own. You should see the text box on the right. And here's number 3 to try to solve on your own. Enter your answer into the text box on the right. Okay, so now we're going to try another concept. So now we're going to use subtraction to solve our equation. So here's my equation, n plus 7 is less than 8. I'm just going to draw my line down where my inequality is to help me keep myself organized. So remember, whatever I do to the right side, I have to do to the left. I see my n here. I'm going to get rid of my n. So I see a plus 7. So I know 7 minus 7 gives me 0, so that gives me n all by myself. Now whatever I did to the left side, I need to do to the right, so I subtracted 7, so I'm going to subtract 7 from that side. 8 minus 7 is 1. I'm going to bring down my less than sign. So I know n has to be a number that's less than 1. So I'm going to graph that. Down here on my number line, I see the number 1. I'm going to make an open circle. It's an open circle because this is just a less than sign. It's not equal to. And n has to be a number less than 1. So my number should go to the left. So I could have any number less than 1. Okay, so just like before, you're now going to try to solve this one on your own. Again, if you need another example to help support your understanding, you can look on page 335 in your textbook. But this is pretty much like we just did with solving equations using your equal sign, but now we just have our inequality sign. So once you're done, go ahead and enter that into the text box on the right. One more for you to try so that we can check your understanding. Put the answer in the text box on the right. And another one to try. Okay, so now we have a word problem, our favorite. Woohoo! All right, so I look at the word problem and I underline things that I need to know. So your book report must be at least 500 words. So at least 500 words. So far you've written 234 words. So this is what I need to do. I need to write and solve an inequality to represent the number of words. You still need to write. So I still need to write some words. I've already written 234 words. And I need at least 500 words. So at least 500 words. So that means my words plus my 234 must be more than 500 if I need at least 500. Did I say 400? I may have 500. So how many words do I still need to write? I've already written 234 to be at least 500 words. Okay, now I need to solve this. I see a plus 234. I want to get my W by itself. So I'm going to subtract 234. Again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I need to write at least 166 more words. That's the minimum. I really want to write more words than 166. All right? So let's try some on your own. Okay, so copy this down into your notebook first. So you might want to pause the video. Then do like I just did. Underline the key words. Maybe circle the phrase that makes this your inequality. So then write and solve an inequality to find the additional amount I must spend to have free shipping. When you're ready, go ahead and write your answer in the text box on the right. Do you have any questions still? I think what we might want to work on is more word problems. So if you want to do some more word problems, maybe write that in the last text box. I need help with more word problems. What else do you need help with? What else do you want to practice some more of? So I will see you tomorrow during class to go over your questions and some more problems.